Hi, everybody.
Hey, what's up? It's Ultra Chen TV. We're doing it old school style tonight.
That's
I
right.
am Davey G.
And I am James Chen. How's everybody going?
So there's no Steven or Steve. Apparently he likes to be called Steven.
That's right. So now we have a distinction. We have a Steve and a Steven.
That's right. Steven being Sajam. Also, his last name is Lion, not Lions.
That's right.
Neither of these things were things that I knew about him at first. We're going to talk about the stuff that's up here. Sports buys eSports. It's been happening.
Yep. It's starting to merge.
It
It's
kind of
starting to
is,
merge.
including
Yep.
some people we'll talk about who wouldn't have expected. But we'll talk about the fact that Urien is now out and playable and our impressions on him, and of course, part of that is discussing how he got there, and it didn't go so well.
Right. We've got events like EGX to cover, which just took place. One of the last premier events was a pretty exciting event. And dude, lots of things coming up this weekend. So the reason why Steven and Steve are not here are because they are heading towards TwitchCon for some cool announcements. So, and then we're heading to ESL this weekend, and of course there's also CEO Taku this weekend.
There's a bunch of stuff.
I think there's another event this
There
weekend
definitely
too.
is.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
which
crazy.
we will cover, but we would like to talk about the ESL pools because that's going to be super interesting.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So to start with, let's talk about the fact that sports is buying esports. So NBA, including folks such as Magic Johnson, but not so. Okay, talk about who bought what.
Yes.
Right. So
Well, I mean, look, already out of all of the athletes in traditional sports, in A-sports, athletic sports, right?
yes.
We already have Rick Fox and Shaquille O'Neal. In fact, Shaquille O'Neal did something with Filipino Champ earlier today. I didn't get a chance to see it. I think they played each other in Street Fighter V or something like that,
Yeah.
and I didn't get a chance to see that.
I didn't watch it either.
So, but already the NBA players are a lot more involved. And then all of a sudden, this weekend, one of the first things we heard was the Philadelphia 76ers purchased...
So they bought Dignitas and Apex. So a couple of pretty major teams. Apex is relatively an upstart, but it has a lot of backing. And now it's gone. It had a guaranteed spot in the League of Legends Championship Series, so that's what they got there. And then I guess what's going to happen is that they're going to keep the Dignitas brand, which is a big brand in esports. So now their teams are going to be called all Dignitas, but there's going to be like the league spot and then whatever else it is that Dignitas does. And that's all owned by 76ers, the Philadelphia 76ers. Not,
So weird.
Like, according to reports, not even like folks from the 76ers, but like the 76ers.
Yeah.
Entity.
So, you know what they should be? 76ers, Pipe, Dignitas, Pipe.
Right? Why not? Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, then after that, almost 1 or 2 days
The next day.
afterwards, we immediately got news, not as much as an entire basketball team, although it's co-owners of the Golden State Warriors, and of course Magic Johnson is involved in this, and Magic Johnson has always been, I think he's still part co-owner of the Lakers at this point.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So those two guys, who else?
Yeah, right. So this is Peter Gruber, Ted Leonsis, who's the owner of the Washington Capitals hockey team. Peter Gruber is CEO of the Mandalay Entertainment Group. Other backers, right, NBA star Magic Johnson, AOL co-founder Steve Case, entrepreneur and motivational speaker Tony Robbins. What? It's that's the single most bizarre part. And Dick Clark Productions CEO Alan Shapiro. Dick Clark Productions is getting into esports?
What does Dick Clark Productions do besides New Year's Rockin' Eve,
I have no idea at all. Right? Yeah, so they bought Team Liquid, right?
Yeah.
Is Team Liquid gonna have some big countdown celebration? Oh, there's a big ball coming down Team Liquid headquarters.
Ryan Seacrest is sitting there, and we're gonna bring on our friend, Mr. Team Liquid Knuckle-Doo. Hello,
Right?
What's going on, Knuckle-Doo?
Dude.
Knuckle-Doo's gonna walk up and be like, hey.
Yeah. It's such a wild story. But it's in keeping with what has been happening in esports over the last couple of years. You mentioned other people who are involved, and it's gonna keep growing in this way.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on these purchases and sort of on the general trend?
It's a double-edged sword for me, to be honest. Like, to have, well, one, we were already, I guess the three main points I'm gonna just put out there right now, right? One is we've already been kind of, eSports, trying to associate ourselves with sports and not associate ourselves with sports, and I've always wanted to consider us something separate than eSports, right? T-sports, whatever you want to call it.
T-sports.
Traditional sports, I feel like this is really not gonna let that happen at this point. At this point, it's like we're going down the same path now, right? But secondly, though, I mean, in terms of from a business standpoint for fighting game community, for esports in general, it's a good sign. Because if big money corporations like this are getting involved, especially ones that are sports, that already have all that background. Look, the only reason why League of Legends is successful is one of the main reasons they're successful is because they studied sports and they studied their broadcasts and they studied that kind of that entertainment package. And so they've been able to do a pretty decent job with the LCS, right? So having sports organizations take over esports stuff seems kind of promising. I mean, if this keeps going and then all of a sudden like all these things happen, then it seems like it might be good for the business. But then again, the third point is that I'm scared because once you start getting these big teams in here, like Sixers buying Team Dignitas and everything, I don't know how much room there is for smaller groups. Like, how do small groups come in and try to form a new team?
Right.
And are they only doing it just to get bought out by a big sports group? You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna buy EG now? Who's gonna buy any number?
EG is owned by Twitch, which is owned by Amazon,
Yeah,
right?
that's
So
true.
like EG's already taken.
That's
but
true.
no, but I get your point.
Yeah. But or I guess I should say something like Team Solomon or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So what's next
Right.
at this point in time? So.
Right.
But,
So I'm with you in that I see both positives and negatives. Okay, it's nice to have the positives of a bunch of resources. Okay,
Yes.
Resources are great. I'm not opposed to that. I also like the fact that in both of these cases, like the 76ers kept on the people who are already involved. Like they didn't like install their own new people into these teams.
Yeah.
Knowing, like there's even a quote from the CEO of the 76ers who says, "We were smart enough to know what we didn't know," and so they brought on people who have previous experience.
That's good.
Fantastic.
That's good. Okay.
And then Team Liquid co-CEOs Steve Arhansett and Victor Goosens are going to stay on. Like stuff like that. Like that. If there's extra resources, but the people who like built it and are more endemic, if they're the ones who stay on, then like that's great. Like I feel like that's sort of what we have always wanted, which is to, at least in FGC, is to build in such a way that we remain the people who are doing it with extra resources, but like we're the people who more or less are still doing it.
Right.
I think we're doing that okay.
Yeah.
So if that can continue in esports more broadly, I think that's a nice thing.
Just get the NBA to buy Evo, and then it'll be
Dude, like if they bought Evo and they didn't change anything,
Yeah,
they just
they
were
just
like,
let-
here's $1 billion.
Yeah, but Tom,
Okay.
Tony, Wizard, you guys keep doing your thing,
Yeah.
Chris Lee. Here you
Like
go.
I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you about the small players. A lot of these teams started out that way. Like I remember Team Liquid starting out smaller. I was big into Brood War back in the day, and I remember like going on TeamLiquid.net and like talking about it. Like I remember the start of it.
Right.
So these people they started small. They've been able to build bigger. I don't know if that's going to be something that's still possible in the future.
Right.
So something that just came out in the public was that I represent, or I guess I represented, an esports team called Team Dragon Knights that got banned by Riot. Just 3 days after they got banned, Riot introduced them to a major NFL team to sell.
Oh, really?
To that, yeah, I mean, it's all public now.
Okay.
To sell to that NFL team. My client is relatively small, and in my view, they got pushed out, and I don't know if this is why, but it seems suspicious to me. Just after that, they were introduced to an NFL team.
Right.
So it seems to me like the goal was get rid of these dudes for whatever reason.
Right. And
But like install immediately fancy ass people, right? So I do think that is a concern. I think it's going to be tougher for people who are a little bit more endemic to continue to make things, to be involved, to make new things. So on the one side, I like that it's extra resources, but on the which is good because it can help further people like Team Liquid, which I have a lot of respect for. On the other, it can prevent a new Team Liquid from even becoming a thing, right? Like it's going to be rare or impossible to have something start out as like a website that people go to, and then they start sponsoring a player, and then 10 years later, like it's going to be tough, I think, to make that happen.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's going to be okay for I think a few years. Like maybe once NBA buys like let's say of different organizations, sports organizations, right, buy like 5, 6 different big teams. We're still going to be in a position where, you know, other teams can form and get big enough to get bought out. But once you get up to about like 20, 25 teams, I feel like that's it at that point, because that I feel like that would kind of saturate the market and no small group can get in there anymore because basically everyone would want to join an existing team as opposed to trying to form a new one. So that would be kind of bad. But then at the same time, if let's say NuckleDo was like, hey, all of a sudden they're giving me this like real legit salary now that Liquid is owned by like a real company, like they can afford to pay us salaries, then it's like, is it really bad? You know,
I hear you. I mean, there are pluses and minuses, man. I'm not sure whether it's a good thing overall, but it's certainly at least partly a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's a big business opportunity for everybody. There's like a land grab going on.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, I think, like I said, one of the big interesting things is just what it really says about what esports is going. I mean, look, we've been doing commentary for what? How long now? Like 7
years.
7 years. But like maybe 3 years, 4 years into it, we were always inundated with people being like, esports is the next big thing. Put all in on esports. This is going places, and we're always like, you know.
Don't quit your day job.
Yeah, exactly. But now, at this point in time, it's like, maybe something is happening here. I don't know.
It could be.
It's happening a lot faster than I ever thought it would, and it's picking up a lot more readily than I ever thought it would be. I have people who know nothing about video games coming up to me, and they're like, "Oh, I read an article about esports, and I thought of you," you know, because I told them about some of the stuff that I do, you know, and it's weird. It's weird. So
yeah, dude. My buddy, another lawyer in esports, Bryce Blum, wrote an article for ESPN.
Is he the guy that you do the podcast, the stream with? Or?
Oh, he's not actually. That's Ryan Morrison.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, Bryce is a real good dude. He represents a lot of people in esports. He wrote a thing on on ESPN that said that he thinks that esports is going to be as big as sports by 2060.
Sports.
Yeah, I just called sports.
By when?
2060.
60. Okay.
60. That seems like it's
a long way to go.
Well, see, I think that's like pessimistic, I guess. Maybe not even pessimistic, maybe not realistic. If it's not going to happen by the time 2060 rolls around, I hope I'm alive for that. But there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to be basically 80 years old and I won't be around, okay?
Yeah.
So, certainly a lot of our generation will have been gone. If it doesn't happen by the time our entire generation grows up and dies, it's probably just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen way sooner than that.
Well,
and I feel like it's already getting closer, man.
I like Blink Templar asks the question in the chat: is it growth or is it a bubble? I mean, is it going to get to that point where it's just like, oh, everyone runs in there and they're like, wait a second, this isn't working out?
So I definitely think that League of Legends is a bubble.
Okay.
I definitely think League is a bubble. I don't think that esports in general is a bubble because there's just like a generation of people growing up who watch games and play games.
And interestingly enough, I almost feel like the fighting game community, in my opinion, obviously I'm biased because I'm a part of it, but I almost feel like it's one of the safer ones to invest in at this point. Just because
you're starting out lower, right? Like
well, one, it's lower, but two, it's also because it wasn't like, hey, oh, we need to be big. Here's all this money, boom. You know, and then it goes away, right? Fighting game community, I feel like it'll, like, if you were like, I mean, we've been building this whole entire time.
Yeah.
And so if somebody came and gave us a bunch of money and then went away, we would be like, all right, let's go back to where we were.
Yeah.
And where we were on our own was at the Mandalay Bay on ESPN2.
Right, not too shabby. Yeah, for sure.
So, which we did on our own without corporate backing and all this stuff.
Yeah,
so
like Evo folks ran that stream, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. So, you know, I think fighting game community is kind of like the smart play.
I'm with you. Yeah, if only EMP had stuck around for another 10 years. I just saw somebody talking about that.
Dude, he's gonna be back, dude. You know he'll be back.
Here's one good thing about a bunch of money being involved is that very low level hucksters are not going to be. It's not going to be viable anymore.
Right. They're not going to be like, join my team because I can do all this for you.
It's not going to make sense. Like you're not going to go to Ted Leonsis, like this big businessman who's been owning a professional sport team forever, and you're not going to like wow him with. It's not gonna happen.
Here's your contract.
It's definitely not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
So I guess that's one benefit.
Oh man, but it's exciting. It's exciting. I think there's a lot of potential for it. So again, see where it goes for the next couple of years. And to be honest with you, I've been pessimistic about esports my whole entire life. I've always been kind of, you know, and honestly, it's been continually surprising me. Like it's actually been surprising me with its growth and its potential.
Sure.
Like I would not have guessed that we would be at this point.
No, I remember actively saying we would not be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see who else sells to what. I wouldn't expect any professional sports leagues to buy an FGC team, like an FGC specific team anytime soon.
Right.
But I would expect more of this kind of thing to happen.
Yeah, it's curious now. I mean, because you said one of the ones for that bought Team Liquid was a Capitals owner,
Yes.
Capitals owner, right? So obviously it's not just NBA. Then
Right.
we've got hockey organizations and
Don't forget Dick Clark.
Yeah, Dick Clark,
Dick
Tony
Clark
Robbins,
Productions and Tony Robbins.
If you want to improve your life, play esports.
Yeah. So that's so wild. That is the wildest individual thing to me.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah. Infomercial.
Esports
yeah.
owner.
About the latest patch from Street Fighter V that came out that added many things such as Urien, super cool. New stage transitions, super cool. They added dailies, yay, super cool. You know, and you get more costumes if you have a season pass. You can buy colors now and everything. Forwards, 2 steps back.
Yeah, it's totally bizarre. I heard about this. And credit to the people who are on PC and doing the good work with looking into the files, because it was very soon after the update came out that people started to talk about it. I literally updated my.
Whoops! Hang on a second. People are telling me the audio's dead.
Oh no!
Hello. Can you hear us? Did the Cap Cops come and shut us down? Cap Cops. I need to figure out what's wrong with that. I know that the audio recently has been coming up and down. And again, it's one of those things that I've changed to nothing. But I'll have to, maybe what I'll do is I'll just unplug everything one day and plug it all back in and have it fall apart and then fix it.
Why not?
So, do you guys, can you...
Okay.
Okay, I guess we're good now. Okay.
Sounds to me like it's good.
Yep, but Capcom's trying to shut us down through the audio. They installed an exploit onto the PC. So.
They did.
And you were saying that a lot of people were figuring out how to...
Like, it was just found very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's nice. Credit to those folks. I saw people who I really respect, dudes working on, like, frame trap thing, and, other people who I've seen post about the inner workings of the PC version. I'm no coder. I'm no programmer.
Right.
So I respect those folks, and they were saying, get rid of this thing immediately. And I was like, you got it, man. So very soon after I downloaded the update, I deleted the entire program from my computer and also the little file. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
I had to do that.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but apparently they had Mike Z on Super Desperation Radio yesterday, and he talked about it in great detail as well. Obviously, Mike would know better than pretty much anybody what this thing is doing. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. Super Desperation Radio, like I said, had Mike Z on to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, look, every time Capcom tries to do anything that like is goodwill and like everything is like seems all happy, they just seem to shoot themselves in the foot with just like these silly things. Like who came up with this idea to get around the hacking exploits this way?
Yeah,
You know?
it's baffling. I mean, from what I read on Reddit, people who looked into this said that the most likely thing that happened was that whoever made this, like, actually got it from a rootkit. Like, that's what they built the code from. Like, that's the origin of it.
Right.
Why would you even be looking that stuff up?
Dude,
It doesn't make any sense.
Someone joked that it was Sony who like put out all those rootkits on their CDs
Yeah.
to prevent from sharing music, and then they helped fund Street Fighter V.
Why not? That was like 10 years ago, but
Yeah.
it's just
Sony's like, we have a solution for you.
right. Yeah.
There you go.
And it's totally bizarre. It's just totally off the wall bizarre.
I mean, the nice thing is Capcom did put out a patch to refix it, but then it didn't even delete the capcom.sys file from your Windows 32 directory,
Yeah.
which you still have to do yourself. And sometimes some people even reported they couldn't delete it at all. Like they had to like boot into safe mode to be able to delete that file, you know. And
It's just wild, man. It's like, it's been. Look, it was already the worst major fighting game release in history. Like it started off that way, okay. But even I remember saying just a week or two ago, right? Hey, this is like it's a real full game now, right? Like you can play against the arcade mode.
Yeah.
And in order to do so, you have to download a rootkit. What are you doing?
Man.
I am looking forward to and also dreading seeing folks at CPT stuff like Hans and being like, what? What happened?
Hey, well, look.
I'm not sure how those conversations are gonna go. I can't imagine he had any part to play in it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm sure he's just as baffled as everybody. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
All I'm gonna say is
wild
I
times.
play Street Fighter V on PS4, console master race.
Console master race. Yep. So I really wanted to try out Urien, and then I found out about this rootkit. I had to delete it. I tried to go on PS4, and it turns out that my PSN account, like, has been defunct for a month or something.
Right, yeah,
I got
I remember
hacked
reading
or
that.
something
Yeah.
happened. I don't even know. I haven't even looked into it yet, even still. But I thought that I wouldn't be able to play Urien until they put the thing out again.
Okay.
Man, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing. At every turn, even when you think it's going to be better. And then this news comes out, and I remember seeing it on Reddit, not on like our Street Fighter or whatever, but on gaming or games, whichever this big one. I was getting mixed up.
Yeah.
Like it was like big time news. Like people who don't
It
play
has
fighting
to be.
games.
It has to be.
Yeah.
If something's installing an exploit that if people know about on your computer and then they can execute whatever they want on your computer remotely, yeah, that is a problem.
That is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's funny because like I made a joke tweet and it got like retweeted like 700 billion times. It's funny because like I think I'm known as one of the biggest Street Fighter V Defense Force people on Twitter because I'm always like it's not as bad as you guys are saying it is and everything like that. But man, they don't make it easy.
Look, I've said from the start, I really enjoy the gameplay.
Yeah.
I think the gameplay is a big thumbs up, and everybody involved in that, I have a lot of respect. I think you did a great job.
Yep.
Pretty much no good words to say about the rest of the project.
And you know all the like I said, you can tell that Capcom doesn't watch our show because I swear if they did, we would be dead with the amount of time you said bad things about them.
I know, yeah.
But you know, I you know, it's hard. It's hard for me to sit here and say like you should buy this game, you should play it. At this point in time, it's a fun game, but you know, if you're like, you know what, I don't want to risk having exploits on my computer, I'm like, yeah. Guilty Gear.
Right. Well, sure.
Blaze Blue's coming out.
So
King of Fighters.
Instead of looking up Urien, I played KOF and I tried out the new patch.
Oh, cool.
Or no, I'm sorry, KI. I played
KI.
I
Okay.
played the KI patch, so.
Nice.
But I did finally get to play Urien. Have you played Urien much?
I've only just messed around with him in training mode. I haven't played him against people yet.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of the Ibuki videos. He has the same situation with Ibuki. Look how amazing this character is, full bar, all V trigger. You know, it's like, okay. But so far, what I've noticed about the character that I really like is that the Aegis Reflector shenanigans, first of all, shout outs to whoever designed the game balance in this game because they just said, you know what, we don't care if Aegis Reflector is stupid. Like, they made it as stupid as possible. It juggles as much as it can.
Mm-hmm.
It reflects supers,
Uh-huh.
you know, and it does the thing where it can bounce you back and forth. You can go boing, boing, boing. They were like, you know what? This is what people
It's
want.
fun. Yeah.
This is what people want. They put it out there. So shout outs to them to make that decision, because I was expecting Aegis Reflector to be massively nerfed.
Same.
Right? But the fact that they went with that, what I love about it, I've seen a lot of players who have kind of been like, Urien may be my last hope to stay interested in Street Fighter V, and then they play him, they're like, I love this. This is like the most fun I've had in a long time, because he's brought a lot of that joy back, a lot of discovery, and there is some execution factor with him, you know, with charge mechanics and like fun Aegis setups and everything like that. I really like how he's made so far. He looks like he's a super fun character to use, and just has a lot of room for being mean and creative.
Yeah.
Obviously for a lot of resources, but I've seen a couple of people say like, this character's bringing me back into the game. Like, I haven't had this much fun in a while. So.
Yeah, he's a really interesting and well put together character. I think a lot of his tools make a lot of sense. So I haven't spent that much time in training mode actually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really feel the like compunction to lab it up as I used to. You know, I used to like come up with all this crap.
Yeah.
I haven't really felt like it lately, but
Just because if you Hameko,
yeah, I used to race those guys.
and Automatic,
no more.
dude, just like go follow them if you
Yeah.
want Urien tech at this point in time. Holy
They're
crap!
doing a really good job.
Yeah.
But I have played against people with him because I just
Oh,
I
cool.
wanted to
Okay,
understand
okay.
the tools.
Uh-huh,
So like
uh-huh.
I would get an Aegis Reflector set up and like not really know what to do, but like
Yeah.
that's not really the point. I just want to understand like what the normals are.
Mhm.
Can I shimmy? Like can like
Right.
what
Yeah.
can, like,
yeah,
how
yeah,
can I do?
It's a smart way to understand the character. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's very strong.
Really.
Oh yeah, dude. I
okay.
feel like his fundamentals are 100% there. Great buttons, good pressure, good mobility, reasonable defensive options. Like not fantastic.
But that's
But
the game. Right?
It's the game.
Yeah.
Like he's not Ryu or Ken.
uh-huh.
Okay, but like he's everybody else, or as good as anybody else is. And then on top of that, he has really strong tricks and mix-ups. Like day one, you could see cool setups for Aegis. Like I don't know anything about it, or I didn't at the time. But like I just went into a match and I was like, I bet I can put out Aegis here and then do a headbutt over the other side, and you're not gonna know like when to switch blocking. Like it's just like immediately obvious, right? Then you also can tell that there's all this extra depth in there. So day one, I feel like he's already really good, and he's just gonna get crazier and crazier. And a lot of it isn't even resources. Like, have you seen the headbutt loops you can do mid-screen?
Yeah.
Or-
Which are super hard, by the way.
Of course.
Yeah.
They definitely are.
But if someone pulls it off in a tournament, that's gonna be
it's
hype.
sick. No,
Right.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Exactly.
But even like single Aegises, like you can just hit a crouching medium kick or stand medium kick in footsies and buffer it into Aegis, and you get a full combo. Like it's
Dang.
really good.
So GTO Akira 41, who always gives us lots of good information in the chat, says that Mago will be playing Urien.
I saw that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
okay,
I saw some
okay,
matches of
okay.
him already.
Okay.
So the only question for me about how good Urien will be is whether the V skill will be practical. It's the 55 frame thing, which is as long as Alex's charge up is. Which is, it's not easy for Alex to get that
Yeah,
going. Like he has to choose whether to do that or a meaty, and on some knockdowns he can't get it safe.
Right.
And you can never do it in neutral. But I think that Urien probably will be able to do it more because he's going to be zoning, and while you're zoning, you can sneak in some of those, or you can decide whether it's like practical to not need to pressure on a knockdown because you can set up zoning instead. You can set up good footsies. So I feel like it's going to be more practical with him, and with it set up, dude, you can't. It's impossible to jump on it.
Yeah.
It's like literally anything he does. Any of the charges is legit anti-air.
And I heard that his EX headbutt goes farther in V skill when
Yes,
it's V skill
it
activated,
does.
right?
It does.
Well,
You
let
can
me
get
let me
better
ask
combos.
you this question then. Do you think he has the potential to be the strongest DLC character? Right now, everyone says that's either Alex or Guile.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
You do?
I do. Yeah, honestly, I feel like it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks into that top 8.
Really?
Yeah, I feel
that's
it's really
exciting
strong,
though.
dude.
That's exciting because I mean, look, we don't want Alien, right? Obviously, that's not what we want.
No, of course.
But the fact that none of the DLC characters have felt like they've been able to put a dent into the tournament scene has been kind of, kind of lackluster, I guess.
I mean, I'm with you on that, but I do think that all of them are pretty good, and I feel that Guile and Alex are like just outside of that top
Yeah,
8,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So.
Okay, cool.
I don't know, dude. So far, I really like I guess this is the last one of this season, right? SF5 DLC, I think, is really good. Like,
Right.
I think that they did a lot of cool, creative things with those characters, and a lot of the problems that I had with the game on launch, like the fact that there wasn't a defensive character. Guile, not as much as he was before, but he
Right.
certainly is more than other characters are. So that's kind of answered. People who really like setups, there you go.
Right.
People who like execution, you have Guile, you have Urien. Like, there's stuff in there now. I think for a lot more people than
And
there were at the
we'll
start.
talk about this a little bit later on, but I'm starting to actually believe that Guile is a pretty decent anti-Chun character. Not saying that he beats her by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like he's kind of designed well to fight against her. But like I said, we'll get to that once we get to EGX. So.
I think he beats Ryu too. But okay,
Oh yeah, really?
sounds good.
Okay. Cool.
Anything else to say about DLC? Urien, the fact that there was Capcom.sys?
No, I think that's all I have for now. So again, I definitely want to mess with Urien some more later on, but once I get a chance to do that, I'll probably just tweet out what I think. So.
Cool, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some tournament results and talking about some upcoming ones as well.
All right, be right back.